self-serving in this conversation, I do want to say this. I don't know how to put it without sounding preachy or whatever, but I may as well just lay it out there, because I was talking yesterday about mysticism. Did you catch that part of the show yesterday?
Yes, I did.
Did you hear the one about the founders of one of the deeply religious Jewish sects who was walking with his grandfather, and the grandfather said to him that every blade of, every stalk of corn has life in it and all of that, and the kid was ripping up a leaf in pieces, and the grandfather said nicely to him, do you understand that even that leaf has a touch of God in it? You remember that little story?
Yes.
Okay. I believe that is true, and I've lived my life that way without reading a book about it. I've always been that way. In other words, I let a fly out of a window. If I can let a spider out of a window, I have a cup and a piece of paper I'll use. So what is that all about? I still eat animals. I still eat animal flesh. I don't eat as much as I did when I was unconscious as a child. I try to avoid certain animals, but I still eat chicken and I still eat fish. But nevertheless, what I'm saying is I see the divinity of life, and I believe that we're all a piece of the same organism. I know that sounds insane to the average human who thinks he is the be-all and end-all of life, and that we ourselves are the only living creature that matters. I do actually believe that we're all part of one living organism. I know it sounds insane. I've had the vision that we're all part of the same organism, meaning all living creatures, no matter how despicable they may be, a skunk, a black widow spider, a snake, a wolf, whatever it is, a puppy dog, a mountain gorilla, we're all part of the same living organism. We're actually one organism, all of us. And when you kill the others, you kill yourself. So you could say, I am the eagle. If you kill the eagle, you're killing yourself. If you kill the honeybee, you're killing yourself. Do you understand where I'm coming from with this?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, so that insight is what leads to a finer understanding of what the environmental movement was originally, which is to be protective of life on Earth. It's since turned into some big lie that has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with profiteering. So let me go on with that. So last night I was lying in bed, and for some reason, I don't know whether I could sleep or I couldn't sleep. I don't know if I was awake or dreaming. I don't remember. I do remember speaking to God in my bed. Okay, take it forward. Turn the radio off. I know it sounds ridiculous if you're listening to this on a car radio. It doesn't sound like he's telling the truth. But I really have to go with what I'm telling you. I'm laying in bed, and I start to breathe deeply, almost going into a meditative state. And I'm getting into this state. I know when I get there, I get very close to it, and sometimes I walk away from it. Sometimes I push it away. Sometimes I drink it away. Sometimes I ignore it. Now I decided to go into it because there are too many things forcing me down this direction. So I start to talk to God, and I try to reach God, and I do reach God. He doesn't answer me, by the way. He doesn't speak. He doesn't have a voice. I don't believe God has a voice and comes into my... I'm not Jimmy Carter. I did not see God appear in my living room in a white robe telling me what to do. But I speak to him. He doesn't speak to me. And I feel him. I don't see him. And as I breathe, I ask him something. And I ask him, and I come to the understanding that we actually have the power within us to live or die. We can actually will ourselves to get better. We can will ourselves to get sicker. We all know that. And it leads me back to the power of prayer. Many of you who listen to this show are very religious. And you go to churches, you go to synagogues, and you do pray. And you don't do so rotely. Many of you do so because you actually reach God in your prayer, which is what the original meaning of prayer was. A great church would lead you to actually praying to God rather than just going through the mumbo-jumbo. And so that is often lost today in the mumbo-jumbo rather than in the actual, you read the Psalms and you don't feel anything. How many people have gone into houses of worship and come out feeling like it was a bad movie? There was nothing there. And you say, I'm not going to go back. I didn't feel anything. Because a great leader in a house of worship would be able to lead you in prayer to God, to feeling God yourself. And that, unfortunately, is not that common anymore because there are not that many great leaders in religion anymore. So what I'm saying is I actually felt that we do hold the power of eternal life in our own hearts and in our own hands. We can reach God. We can talk to him. So where am I going with this? We're going back to the essays that won the contest. Why? Because these essays that I chose after a long selection process of 1,700, in some ways, I think were inspired by a contact with a higher power. Call it